Our next speaker is Elina Åsbjer, and she's a veterinarian from the Swedish Center of Animal Welfare and resident in Animal Welfare Ethics and Law at the European College of Animal Welfare and Behavioral Medicine. She's involved in different animal welfare issues, and today she will inform and give a presentation about training of dogs on wild animal in enclosures. Please,
Yes.
Please, Elina.
Thank you. I hope you will keep awake the last 20 minutes. You haven't had any coffee yet, and the Swedish people needs coffee at least, I know. Anyway, I will talk about training on dogs on wild animals in enclosures, and I will talk about this from a Swedish perspective with the Swedish legislation in mind, and this can of course differ from other countries. When you talk about this, there are different aspects, interests, and perspectives. We have, I can use this.
Yes,
Which one?
do you want a pointer?
Yeah,
That's
the red one.
Red
The
one.
red one. Okay. Yeah, you have the hunter, for example. He wants a well-trained dog and doesn't want the dog to behave in a wrong way, not being too aggressive, for example, approaching a bear, or you have the interest of the owner of the enclosure. He gets some money from these activities. And you have the wild animals. They also have interest in this, actually, because if you want to find a wounded animal. And then you have welfare aspects also of the dog during the test, of course, but also during hunting. You don't want the dog to get hurt by a wild boar or a bear, so on. And then you have the interest in of the wild animals in the enclosures. And I will focus on these two, the bears and the badgers. So legislation, we have the Animal Welfare Act, which protects all animals kept by humans, and thereby also wild animals kept in enclosures. And it says that animals shall be treated well and protected against unnecessary suffering. And they shall be kept in a good environment and in such way that they can behave naturally and so on. And also that abnormal behavior should be prevented. So this is a preventive legislation. We also have regulations for training. It is forbidden to use animals for tests and training and competitions, which cause, in a way that causes suffering. But exceptions are made, and that is regarding the badgers, and we'll get back to that. Then we also have regulations for keeping animals, wild animals in enclosures, in the regulations for zoo animals. These regulations, for example, require bears to have some kind of bath. They should be able to climb, and they should be able to dig or have a den if you're a badger. And there are also requirements regarding the size of the enclosure and so on. And then we have the Hunting Act and the Hunting Ordinance, which says that you should not cause any unnecessary suffering during hunting. And it also says that hunting within enclosures are permitted, and that you are allowed to use dogs, there is a dog, during hunting and training for hunting. So these activities are allowed. Just a few words about the brown bear. It spends a lot of time foraging, food handling activities, and so on. Intelligent animals, roaming over large areas. And, I want a picture of the badger here. Anyway, we get to the badger later. The badgers are family animals, living groups, and with dens, often in forest areas and so on. And when you put them in captivity, there are some negative side effects. A barren environment and too little stimulation may lead to stress within the bears. Maybe their need for foraging and food handling activities will not be fulfilled and so on. And pacing is quite common, as for other predators roaming over large areas. And different studies have shown that 50% of bears have some kind of stereotypic behavior. and spent 11% of the time doing this kind of behaviors. What is also important is to be able to control the situation. Not being able to handle the situation will lead to a lot of stress in the animals. And that is for a lot of species, so bears and badgers as well. Enrichment. Some say that this kind of training with hunting dogs on bears and enclosures and badgers as well are enrichment. So just a few words about enrichment. They should stimulate and increase the range and number of species-specific behaviors. They should provide some kind of added value, increase the activity and decrease the passive time, provide some interaction with the environment, and prevent or otherwise reduce abnormal behaviors like stereotypic behaviors. They should give some more quality to life and provides positive experiences. So enrichment for bears are like these food handling activities, trying to create some complex environments, and here you have social interactions, digging, and so on. And most enrichments for bears are regarding these kind of enrichment, food handling. And the thing is that you can also get habituated to enrichment, and then it's not really enriching anymore. So you need to have a variation or intermittent presentation of the enrichment and so on, so you decrease the risk of habituation. Bears and dogs then. There are no specific studies on stress reaction in bears in captivity exposed to dogs, but there are studies on the reaction in wild bears approached by dogs in simulated hunting trials. And a study from 2014 and 2016 showed that heart rate increased with decreased distance to the dogs, and also that two hunting dogs were more stressful than one hunting dog. And you could also see that the flight initiation distance was longer when the hunter had a dog with it. So the conclusion from this is that bears are more stressed by dogs than by humans. So, is training with hunting dogs then stressful? If bears in the wild are stressed by dogs, is it the same for bears in captivity? It might not be the case because you have different situations with the bears that are habituated to people and can also be habituated to dogs. And I want to show you two films. These are from the County Administrative Board in northern part of Sweden. This is from a zoo where they have this kind of training. So I hope this will work now. There is no sound here, but there is a barking dog who is here. You will see him soon. There he stands. And he just barks and barks and barks at these bears. And as you see, here are the youngsters. They are having a good time playing in the water. It doesn't seem to bother so much. And here you have the older bears. They're not doing so much either. What is important is that you feed the animals here in the corner to get the bears up to the fence towards the dogs. They have probably eaten up everything now. What you also might want to know is here you have some bigger rocks, so they can hide behind the rocks if they wanted to. Now I have another film, and I think I need to do like this. Because I hope this is the right one now. Oh, this one. Okay. How do I do this? Så, ja. And this is another dog. I do this. So here you have the dog, and here you have the younger bears following him, standing peeing here. And this is not, you don't want your dog to react like this to a bear in the wild. He's being way too social. So he runs here, and you can see that the younger bears runs after him. And then you have this older bear. You see that he has more of an aggressive approach to the dog. But the other ones are, you know, they're running after him, and so on. Okay. Let's get back to the presentation now. But how do you interpret this? You saw the no. You saw that the younger bears had another different approach to the dog than the older ones. But is this playing behavior? Are you sure of that? Or are they doing something else? They are maybe feeling that they're protecting their area, especially the older bear, for example. He was doing some kind of, showing some kind of aggression towards the dog. But is that also playing, or is that get away from here, I don't want you here? So, is this stressful or is it enriching? Bears in the wild avoid dogs and get stress reactions, that we know. Normal enrichment are complex environments, searching for food and food handling and so on. But also scanning the environment, getting new smells, for example, and patrolling its area, defending itself, hunting, social interactions within or in between species could also be enriching. But if the bears are passive, just laying down, is it really enriching for them? And of course, the time